La Mer.
So it is officially time for me to do the second round of my monthly book challenge on the channel, which is of course review, reread, or unhaul. And as with last time, I'm going to pick about 5 books to challenge myself with, and if I've already read the book, I'm going to do like a low-key on-the-spot review of it. If I don't remember enough to review it, then I will choose to either read it for the first time if I haven't, or reread it if that's the case. And if I just don't want to reread it, we may be looking at an unhaul, unless it is just strictly one of those collectibles, as the case may be. And it's just a fun way that I thought I could try to go through some of my books and actually give myself some dedicated time to really think a little bit deeper on, why do I have this book? Did I really like it that much? And do I still want to keep it? And just give me a chance to do a little bit of reviews, because I have never really done like really in-depth reviews previously, and this is just a good way to kind of get in the habit of looking at books a little bit closer. Anyway, as with last time, I am using my trusty Reading Owl jar, which has a bunch of the titles in my collection. Technically, this also has several books that I don't own yet, since this was originally created to kind of help me pick when to purchase certain books as well. And so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and pick about 5 titles out of here, and then we'll grab the books off the shelves and go on in from there. The first book we have is, and I am going to read out the ones that are blank, which means I didn't have them yet at the time I made it, because unfortunately some of these are a little out of date, so some of these I have since purchased. First one is Tweet Cute, which unfortunately I have not purchased yet. And because I have recently purchased several books, see my recent book haul, I may in the future use this as still use it as an attempt to go ahead and purchase that book to read it for the first time, as the challenge calls for, but for now I've been sticking with just books that are already in my possession. Next one, Online Business, which is an ebook that I own. And as I've mentioned in the previous video, I have many an ebook, but I am terrible about remembering to actually read them, which is why I pretty much never pay more than $1 or $2 for them. BookBub is both great and a torture. Anyway, another reason we're doing this challenge is to make sure that I actually get around to those books more often. Because last round I ended up getting The Getaway, which was not an ebook, but it was an Audible original that I probably wouldn't have gotten around to in a hot minute otherwise, and it was great, and it was actually really short, so it was super easy to get through. So it can be done. Two Can Keep a Secret, which is also a book I do not own at this time. So the next one is The Book Thief, which I do have an actual copy of, so that's going to be fun to participate with. So that's 2 down, 3 to go. The next one is Binge by Tyler Oakley. Here's book number 3. Let It Snow, which I do not own. Ice Cream and Sadness, which I do apparently own on ebook, and I did not realize. I thought I hadn't gotten that one yet, but I guess just not a physical copy. Where did it go? Okay, so we have 4. One more. Oh, Jesus. The Silent Stars Go By / Touched by an Angel, which is the other of my Barnes & Noble collectible Doctor Who ones. And the other one, the first one last round, so I guess that's fitting. Doesn't feel that random, but sure is, I promise, because look at that. So yeah, those are my 5 titles. I'm gonna go grab them off the shelves, and of course anything that I choose to actually read / reread, I will be adding to my April TBR. Alright, so I have gathered all of the books, and it is time to go ahead and start with the first one, which is Online Business. The full title is Online Business, Simple Yet Effective Ideas on How to Make Money Online and Generate High Amounts of Passive Income, Affiliate Marketing, E-commerce, Cryptocurrency Trading, Drop Shipping. And pretty sure I just had nabbed this as like a random free ebook for like Kindle stuff at one point, because it's been a while since I grabbed this. And yeah, pretty much this was an era of trying to figure out how to like just better some of the things with my old channel, and obviously as I still haven't read this, I didn't really go many places with it. So it wasn't honestly all that high up on my list. It was just like, it would probably be good to learn some of this stuff for, you know, ideas. So here, let's see, kind of read through a little bit of what Goodreads has for the description on this, and it is by Anthony Parker. Says this book covers the topic of starting your own online business and becoming your own boss. It will teach you everything you need to know about drop shipping, Kindle publishing, freelancing, creating online courses, trading and investing in cryptocurrency, blogging, and affiliate marketing. You will learn ways of earning a passive income online and making a living as a freelancer. And here's a preview of what's included: everything you should know about drop shipping, how to use Spotify for drop shipping, how to make a business with Kindle publishing, finding freelance work, making online courses, making money with cryptocurrency, trading and investing, how to make money blogging, making money through affiliate marketing, and much, much more. So I'm kind of like, it could be helpful to learn, so I will add it to the TBR. It can't be that long, I would assume, to just kind of read through. It says 57 minutes left in book in Kindle, so why not? Kitty break. Hey, Mizuna. Still got catnip on her from last night. You need a me. So the next book on my list of challenge books for this round is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. And I had not really heard a whole lot about this book for the longest time. I just heard several mentions of it. I knew in the back of my head that it was like a very popular book, but didn't know a thing about it. And it wasn't until a couple years ago when my friend Eleanor came down to visit me here, and we went to the Gottwalls together, that she mentioned it was one of her favorite books, and still didn't know a whole lot about what was going on, other than there's some, I believe it's set during World War II, but I'm honestly kind of like okay with not knowing a whole lot from there. But yeah, she highly recommended it to me. So when I had a chance to grab this copy from Corel later, since I wasn't yet ready to grab it on that particular Gottwalds trip, now we have a copy, and unfortunately I have yet to read it still, even though it's been a hot minute since I even picked it up there. I've almost read it once or twice during the Magical Readathon, but it's dropped off in favor of shorter books, because this is like 500 pages or something. Yeah, like 530 pages. So this one will also now officially be part of the April TBR. The next book that we have is Binge by Tyler Oakley, and this is pretty much biography, memoir. I'm still trying to figure out just what separates the two, because there's some sort of crossover. But of course, Tyler Oakley is a huge YouTuber. I am a little less familiar with them, but when I have seen stuff, it's been interesting, and I did end up picking this up when I was in the middle of a huge biography memoir kick. So I have another from Joy Graceffa, I had Anna Kendrick, Lauren Graham. I went through several of them. Some of them have been read, some of them have not. This one has not been read yet. So another one for the TBR pile, I guess. Well, alrighty then. So the next one is Ice Cream and Sadness, which I just now found out. It vaguely rings a bell, but I had forgotten this. It is the second in the books from Cyanide and Happiness, and I was looking through, as I mentioned, my lengthy Kindle library to see if I had the first one, and I don't. So, I mean, it's a comic, so it's fine. We'll just read the second one, because I imagine I probably grabbed this one because it was on sale or free, and just didn't have a similar option for the first book. But yeah. If you're not familiar with Cyanide and Happiness, it's another one of those like comics that just circle around the internet, and it is one of my brother David's favorites, like, series. So I decided to check it out when it was super cheap / free, don't remember. And Kindle does say that there's all of 5 minutes to read the book, so you know, guess we'll read it. Alright, and the last book for this round is going to be the Doctor Who Barnes & Noble collectible for The Silent Stars Go By and Touched by an Angel, which is another bind-up of 2 Doctor Who adventure books. And these are actually both part of the 11th Doctor, if I recall correctly. So they're both new series adventures this time around, as opposed to last time it was one of each. One from the old classic series, one from the new one. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that these also have Amy Pond and or Rory as the companions in the stories as well. And just like with the last one, I was a little torn. One was better than the other. So Silent Stars Go By is a story where basically they end up going to this planet that is covered in snow, and there's this like village that lives there, and oh man, I don't even remember what the monsters were called offhand. I think it's what are they? It's been a hot minute. I didn't need to like look up the name because I'm blanking. It's right there on the edge of my brains. Oh, I'm getting it confused. Or am I? No, I think I'm remembering now. Okay, so there are Cybermen in here, but there's also another monster that the one I'm forgetting about. I want to say it's the one from the submarine episode with Clara, but I can't recall what they're called. They're like Ice Warriors. There we go. Ice Warriors and Cybermen are in here, and they're basically like fighting against each other, and this village about to be caught in the middle, and yeah, Doctor has to save everybody, and you know, I didn't particularly care for this one, to be honest. Of the two stories, I just know that there was a lot of them running around, as always, but there was an awful lot of running in this one, for a story thing. And basically the main village people are called like Morphins, because I'm pretty sure that's what the actual like village people were calling themselves, because it had basically been like a nickname that had sort of formed over several generations, but I do believe there are humans that have migrated to this other planet, and the Ice Warriors had been like dormant on that planet. I do believe that the planet had initially belonged to the Ice Warriors, but they were in like hibernation on the planet and were starting to wake up, and Cybermen just happened to be, you know, doing their thing. And yeah, I've let a lot of the details drop out of my brain, unfortunately, from there, because I just didn't really care for it. I do remember that like one of the like leadership people reminded me a lot of the like older lady who was behind the one other Clara episode with the 11th Doctor, where like the 11th Doctor is like dyed red, and like all these people were being made into like little mannequins to be on display in these like houses. That episode, I know the like main lady in charge who has that like worm thing attached to her. One of the characters in here reminded me of her. And I didn't like that episode on TV particularly much either, so like once the two connected and I just already wasn't like super in love with this particular story, I just kind of like, alright, moving on. Okay, so editing me here again and to like fix things I got wrong while reviewing particularly Doctor Who's books in this challenge. I really should make a point of like actually opening up the summary and stuff while I'm filming properly. Something to try and do for next time. Just reading through here, and instead of reading the Goodreads descriptions because they were not super great, I'm actually reading the descriptions from this cat. Reading the descriptions from the TARDIS fandom site instead, since those seem to be a little bit better. So the first one was The Silent Stars Go By, and it says the 49th novel in the new series Adventure series with 11th Doctor, Amy Pond, and Rory Williams. As of the 2011 BBC Books edition, let's see, it says, for centuries, the Morphins have worked with no help from other worlds. They subsist on the food they can grow, and that's little enough. But their purpose, their whole life, is to maintain the machines that will one day make their world as habitable as old Earth. Life used to be hard. Now, as their crops fail, livestock sickens, and the temperature drops. It's becoming impossible. This year's winter festival won't be the usual celebration. It's not a time for optimism or hope, and it's not a time to welcome unexpected guests. The Doctor, Amy, and Rory find a society breaking apart under the strain. Tensions are mounting, old rivalries are coming to the fore, people are dying. And then the Doctor's old enemies, the Ice Warriors, make their move. With the cold-hearted threat of invasion, the real battle for survival begins, or does it? The Doctor begins to suspect that behind everything lies a deadlier and even more chilling danger. So there's that one. As I've said before, I get fairly picky with my Doctor Who stories by book, because I just feel like a lot of it plays out better as TV episodes. But anyway, sometimes there are a few gems, such as Touched by an Angel, which so far is my favorite of all of the Doctor Who stories that I've read. So basically it follows this guy whose wife was unfortunately killed in an accident. They're basically he, is very depressed and living on his own and not really interacting with people and things for a while after she dies. And at some point, a year or however many years down the road, the Weeping Angels get a hold of him and send him back in time, except they made the mistake of sending him back within his own lifetime. So he only got sent back like 10 years or so. So basically, the whole plot surrounds the Doctor trying to track down this guy and make him, pretty much prevent him from interacting with himself, because he's basically following his younger self from I think it's set in the 90s versus 2000, early-ish 2000s is where he's from, and he gets sent back to the 90s, and he's basically following around his younger self and trying to figure out how he can best live out his time in the past to try and get to the point where it's the night his wife dies, and try to stop the accident. And of course it's one of those things where the Doctor said it's a fixed point in time and is trying to stop him from doing things, and at the same time I believe the Weeping Angel who sent him back is also looking for him to send him back further as well, to try and fix the mistake. And then as for Touched by an Angel, it is the 46th novel in the new series Adventures, also with 11th Doctor, Amy, and Rory. And let's see, these two descriptions seem to be pretty much identical. So based on the 2011 BBC Books edition, it says, in 2003, Rebecca Whittaker died in a road accident. Her husband Mark is still grieving. These cats. He receives a battered envelope posted 8 years ago containing a set of instructions with a simple message: you can save her.
As Mark is given the chance to save Rebecca, it's up to the Doctor, Amy, and Rory to save the whole world. Because this time the Weeping Angels are using Mark himself as a weapon to change history. So, based on that, well, actually, I mean, we're on the site. It has the plot. Because I am now, like, wondering if I'm remembering correctly about the Doctor being, like, on his side or not. I'm pretty sure he wasn't, though. Doctor learns that Mark has been sent to 1994, so I was right about being in the 90s. And yeah, he's trying to prevent the paradox, which is why they're following Mark around in the 90s. Just kind of, like, scrolling, just, like, glancing, skimming through. Okay, so yeah, the Doctor is trying to keep him from meeting his younger self to prevent a paradox from happening, but I do think that the Weeping Angels part was a bit off, because the main thing that the Doctor was really looking into at first was why he got sent to his own timeline, like, so close together, as opposed to, like, bookending it like Weeping Angels typically do. And then the last thing is to actually read my review from when I actually read it initially. So my review from October 26th of 2018, so very close to when I read through the other one. I think I read them back to back between the two Barnes & Noble collectible Doctor Who stories. And it says, I was a bit intimidated by the book initially because it's so beautifully made and giant, but these stories ended up reading so quickly. They definitely got the anxious feel of a proper Doctor Who plot to come through the pages, and I absolutely loved the Touched by an Angel story. I think it may be my new favorite Weeping Angel story, though they are still one of the most terrifying monsters. So yeah, very brief, but yeah, it still holds true. Best Weeping Angel story, for sure. Anyway, back to the video, I guess.
But yeah, this is my favorite rendition of, like, the Weeping Angels, and I just found it to be so interesting, and it was fun just, like, seeing him, like, trying to interact with himself and everything. And of course the whole thing with his wife when they get to that point in the story is pretty heartbreaking. And just yeah, I loved it, honestly. And like I said, it's my favorite of the Doctor Who, like, new series adventure books that I've read so far, and it's literally my favorite Weeping Angel story. Like, it actually tops the Weeping Angels TV episodes for me. So like I said, my opinions on the Doctor Who books are, like, all over the place, very hit and miss, but this one was definitely a hit. And honestly, dang, are we really gonna just add all these to my TBR? Because, like, now I really want to reread it too, even though I've just reviewed it. But I mean, this will just be a loose placement on my TBR because obviously I've read it before, but, like, oh, it was so good. I cannot. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, that pretty much completes this round of the book challenge. If you participate, let me know, because I want to see other people, like, going through their shelves and, like, reviewing things or giving suggestions, because it's one of the great things about BookTube is getting honest opinions from everyone and seeing where interests cross and everything. And yeah, I'm very excited. I'll buy some of these. And in the meantime, if you need me, I'll be reading.